So, first of all, thank you for everyone that's come to this conference. This has been a big dream of mine to bring people to come to Polk County because it's important that others that are part of the state learn what we do in the fastest growing county in the state and number 7 in the United States. We are in the cusp right there on I-4. So you know exactly why this community is growing so much in this area. Haines City has 46% Hispanic population and it's right off the I-4 corridor. And what does that mean? During an election year, they're all gonna come and swarm to Polk County. So I want you to enjoy today. We are going to talk about the importance of voting. Why did you run? How difficult was it to run? Etc. etc. And I'd like to acknowledge we have several people in the audience that are part of that area. We have school board member Justin Sharpless here with us. And that's extremely important for us, so because education is power, just like voting is power. So can we get more people, Sandy? Tell them if they don't show up, they're not gonna eat. I'm just saying. Because
don't forget to introduce the Hillsborough
that I was waiting for her.
right there.
We went together. Good. Porque si no me iba. And today we also have with us in our audience something, a woman that I got to realize when she was appointed. She is Karen Barrett, and she is the head of the Hillsborough School Board. Stand up, please. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. And we have lots of different people here, and I want you to meet, mingle, and connect. Remember that. Repeat with me. Meet. I know you haven't eaten, but I want you to a little louder, please. Meet. Mingle. And connect. So that's what you're going to take away in this conference, is that you're going to meet people, you're going to mingle with them, like smile, take selfies and things like that. And then you're going to connect with them for whatever need you have. Mr. Kramer's back there. He is chairing our Biden campaign. Thank you very much for coming. All righty then. So I will be your moderator for today because the gentleman who is going to do the moderation, he works for Disney. And when Disney decides to, switch over the schedules, you need to go and do the schedule, because if you're in the union, guess what? But he laid it out for us, and he said this is the way it's got to go, because this gentleman has an organization called swanforums.org, and what he does is that he teaches people on his website, if you're going to run, what are the things you need to do? Because he himself ran for City Commission, youngest millennial Latino, and he ran in 2015 against Philip Walker. And surprisingly, if there was not a candidate that had jumped last minute, there would have been a runoff, and he would have been the youngest person running, or maybe who had. So he decided to set up this website, and he set up the whole moderation thing for me. He also sent us a gift. I don't know if we're gonna run out of it, but he's so organized. It scares me. So, can you just take one and hand it?
Yes.
Because it is extremely important. Do you want to help? I'll give you this. Sandy will do it. Sandy.
I can help you.
She'll do it. Okay, so let's get started. Let's get started. Okay, so let's start with our first panelist. His name is Omar Arroyo. He is the newest elected Haines City mayor. And before that, he was the city commissioner and vice mayor. And I am so excited. I'm still like too excited. And I keep on like, and it means a lot for us, because when I moved down here in 2002, Okay. I was like, okay. I had to teach a lot of our officials the difference between un cubano, un puertorriqueño, un dominicano, a Colombian, a Venezuelan, etc., because we all speak Spanish, but we all have a little nuance to our Spanish. For Puerto Ricans and Cubans, we tend to do a lot of Spanglish. So I taught that to Sheriff Brady too. That's the funny part. So he is also a builder and contractor and entrepreneur, as well as also being a public servant. And his wife is here, Ali. The first lady of we have Susana, this harvest. Thank you for coming, my darling. Doctora Vivian Badillo is a clinical psychologist with a master's degree in labor law. She is the founder of Badillo and Associates and Vida V LLC, where she works on the transformation and healing of individuals. She is also the vice president of Prospera and is the co-founder of Vitacom LLC. Jo Shin, am I saying that right? Yes. Okay. She is the vice president of the League of Women Voters of Polk County and chairs the Voter Service Committee. As the Voter Services Chair, she organizes voter education events throughout the county at libraries, grocery stores, on college campuses, and at other venues. Along with my eyesight, Lord have mercy. Along with other committee members, she gives presentations, works to engage young voters, and assists with organizing candidate forums. Over the years, she has advocated on many voting issues, including fair districts and the restoration of voting rights for Floridians with felony convictions. Jo lives in Lakeland, and when she is not involved with the League activities, she volunteers as an escort at the Lakeland Women's Health Center, and she enjoys traveling, running, gardening, reading, and spending time with her family. Thank you for being here. So I'm going to jump questions back and forth because we're going to have a short session because I want everybody to eat if they're behaving. Okay. Is the food here yet? No, it's fine. Okay. So my first question will be for our mayor, for Omar. Many voters do not participate in local elections. Can you explain why is it when the self-interest of people, and especially Latinos, to engage in municipal and countywide elections? Can you explain why?
Education is, the big catch there. We're not educated. Unfortunately for us, it is voting for president and voting for the governor. That's the times that we come out and vote, and that's what I found out when I decided to run the first time. Our population is very uneducated when it comes to the local elections. And to me, local elections is the most important part of everybody's life on their everyday. We are the ones, or local elected officials are the ones that decide the things that really impact your everyday life. But we still have very, very lacking when it comes to the education. Unfortunately, many of us think that local government is kind of like our government back in our countries. And they just don't want to get involved. They think that they're not going to get help, that they're just going to help somebody get there, and that person is going to get the power, and then, forget about them. They're not going to do nothing for them. But quite honestly, I think everybody that I know that serves in the local level, they all love their community very, very much, and they give all their time to help us. So I think education is one of the key components that we miss in there.
Okay. So Omar, Mayor Omar, yes. Can you explain? You see, you heard someone say yes. I think they got it. Oh, man. Can you explain what the process is like to run for public office? What did you go through?
Well, my process or the process? Yeah, that's the difference.
I think a lot of us know the process, but your process was a challenging one, because I remember we spoke the first time you were running.
Yeah, well, the first time it was just going there without knowing absolutely nothing. Didn't even knew anybody that wasn't in office. Nothing. It was just me and my wife basically popping up ideas here and there on what to do to get the name out. We did have some support from friends, mainly her friends. She would run everybody from Zumba, and we would go and raise signs. So it was tough. I mean, it would have been a lot better if I knew a little more. But our process was just to go by the day. So whatever we felt that day, we would do it. Knock on doors, signs, put signs, go to radio stations. A lot of people were telling me the signs didn't work, and I still want to put like 700 of them in the city. I plastered the city with my signs. I figured that nobody knew my name, and somebody was going to ask, why is that guy's name all over? And we did pretty decent for being, our first time running against an incumbent. We came about, I think, 6% short on the first time. But what we learned there was just tremendous. And then everybody that learned about us, about me, what my ideas, that helped on the next one. The next one really was hard, but not as hard. We had so much support. The first one I ran it with my own money. I was thinking that, if I put my money in it, everybody's gonna think I'm serious. Second one, I got these groups that started talking to me, and they were like, no, you're doing it wrong. You can put a little, but then you need money from other people, because that's when they really gonna go with you. They're gonna feel like they put the money, they want you to win, and they're gonna help. And that second run, it was easy. We didn't even ask for money. Money just came in. And one thing we did, we won it on the first time without having to go to a runoff, which is very tough when, especially when you don't have an incumbent. When you have an incumbent, the incumbents, tend to sometimes win it the first go. But mine was an open seat, and it was 3 of us. And, we just are blessed for the support. And we had a really, really great support from the Hispanic community.
Good.
It was very small for the number, but prior to me, there was almost non-existent. And we brought in like 500 or 600, which doesn't sound too much, but in Haines City is a lot.
Thank you. Dr. Vivian, we always tell people to go out and vote, but we never tell them that the voting is a big responsibility that directly affects you and your neighbors. Do you think people should take voting seriously instead of just not doing it?
Thank you. I want to start with a little story. People say that the man needs 3 friends: a lawyer, a CPA, and a doctor. And I'm here in this panel. I'm very grateful for this. I'm a clinical psychologist. So the first thing before I answer this is, if you want to impact the Latino people, you need to speak in Spanish. Because now I'm gonna switch between English and Spanish, and you will feel the difference between when I talk your language and when I talk the Hispanic language, that is Spanish. If you want to touch the heart of the people, you need to start here, because here is the chair of command, okay? So it depends. My answer, Anita, is it depends. If it's yes, si es sí, es porque la gente está enfocada, está educada, como dijo aquí el mayor, y además de eso, tiene muy claro la visión de que cada voto cuenta. Están convencidos. Las emociones producen actos. Los actos producen decisiones. Si nosotros no movemos, we can move the emotions in people, no van a ir a votar. Por otra parte, ¿saben? Psicológicamente, yo tengo programas de radio y de televisión. Hago cápsulas de salud mental para NBC y hago, en iHeart hago programas, y les voy a decir algo. Una de las cosas que hemos podido ser exitosos es porque le hablamos a la gente en rice and beans, en arroz y habichuela. ¿Ok? Y ¿sabes qué pasa? Que ¿por qué gente no ha ido a votar? Esta es mi segunda ronda desde el 2020 aquí hablando de los derechos que todos tenemos de ir a votar. ¿Y sabes por qué no van? Número uno, no se sienten keep in touch con el candidate. No se sienten que están afiliados. Ese bonding que usted hablaba previously, no se sienten. Segundo, ¿qué piensan? Que ellos no le van a resolver su día a día, sus necesidades de alimentos, casa, housing, groceries, school. They don't believe in the candidates. So, el lazo psicológico no se da. Y tercero, al final, la sobreconfianza. Ay, sí, ya yo sé quién va a ganar. Hasta es una confianza adversa. So if you feel different now because I'm talking in Spanish, that's the first thing that we need to do. Learn Spanish to impact Hispano people. Anita.
Thank you. Thank you. How can people avoid being misled by intentional misfortune, misinformation, and misfortune sometimes too? So, how have you informed voters of information on what is on the ballot, which is extremely important because a lot of us leave those ballots empty at the voting booth?
That's so odd. So thank you very much for inviting me. As you can see, I'm not Hispanic. As a league, we are trying to reach out to have more Hispanic members, and I think, you know, together the league and Lulac could do a lot to reach very big Hispanic communities, like in parts of Lakeland, Winter Haven, and Haven City. But first of all, just a little bit about the League of Women Voters, because I just want to stress that we are a very non-partisan organization, where our main mission is to encourage active participation in government, to make sure people have the knowledge they need to vote intelligently, and to make sure that you know, we reach all communities, and especially people that are communities that are hard to reach, that we reach out to them, too. And we we do not support or oppose any political candidate or party while we are representing the league. And as voter services chair, I don't do anything, you know, with any party events at all to make sure that I stay and represent the league as a non-partisan organization. And one of our struggles is that in some of the areas where we do voter registration, we do not have enough Spanish speakers to be effective. So we like to go to Super Choice in Lakeland on Memorial, and it's a great place to go. And I shop there because my husband's Jamaican, so they have, you know, great selection of food that we like. And we can only really speak to, unless we do have a few members who speak Spanish, but unless I get somebody there, we can only really speak to half the people that use the stores. And there are other issues. There are people with what we call returning citizens. They don't want to speak to us. We have people with immigration issues, which we really understand. They don't want to speak to us. And so we are not reaching a lot of people, so collaboration is important. But to answer the question, how can we make sure that people are not misled by intentional misinformation? Well, I would say we have to be aware all the time, because misinformation is absolutely everywhere. But I also want to tell you that we have a presentation that we have done a couple of times which addresses just that issue. It's called News, Fact and Fiction. And anytime you want a presentation, we would be happy to bring that to your organization, but it would be in English. But there's all kind of things. You have to be really careful when you're using the internet and social media and AI, because it's always there to trip you up, although it's very useful in itself. So one thing I would say is, if you get information on a website that looks suspicious, it probably is. But one thing you can do is check the URL, check where it's coming from. So often you find there may be just something like one letter missing. For instance, we had on the presentation information and it looked like it wasn't correct, and it was from abcnews.co. Well, cop.co is a false website. You never find that in the US. You may find it in Europe, like they have .co.uk, but in the US it will pretty much always be .com. So that is one thing. You can also look at the about, if it's a website, look at the about us. See what it says about the organization. And then another thing you can do is search where the website or the organization is located. Is it coming from a real building, or is it just some miscellaneous apartment somewhere? So you've got all those tools that you can use. Also, be really careful with pictures. They can either have titles that are kind of misleading, or it's so easy to alter a photograph, and you can get a completely wrong impression. So there's just trying to remember the name of the website. It's tinai.com or google.com. You can use both of those websites to actually search the photo and see where it's come from. Usually it picks up if it's been changed, and it'll show you the original, and it will show you, how it was changed, how quickly it was changed, and you can see the history of that photo.
Can I excuse you for a minute? We have just, and he has just entered, our Florida State Senator, el Señor Victor Torres Jr. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much for coming. A total legacy. Grab a chair. All right, thank you. Okay, Ms. Chair.
Okay, thank you. And then we gotta start wrapping
Because people are hungry. I can hear stomachs growling.
So lastly, I would say be aware of your own biases. Make sure you're looking at your news from all different sources. Don't just go to your one favorite news site that you like. Don't look for something that is re-emphasizing what you think about. Search for news from different sources, left, right, and in the middle, so that you get a balanced view of what is going on and you can make decisions. So I did bring a few things with me, and this handout has sort of sources you can use to research. So you are, very welcome to take those and anything that is here on the table. So the second question.
Well, let me go to another question, because we want to
Okay.
get this going, so we can go back to that question. And I apologize for that, because someone is going like this with their finger to me. So, would the three of you agree with the notion that your vote matters more at the local level than it does at the state and national level, especially during these times?
I personally believe that it does. Like I said before, I think the local level is the most important elections for our everyday life. National level, at the end of the day, it's big politics. They covers the whole country. It does affect you personally, but decisions made by your local elected officials, even at the state level, they really, really affect you. That's an everyday issue that you're gonna have if you got somebody there that came up with the wrong ideas. That's gonna affect you every day. Somebody that doesn't want to, build parks in the local level.
Lower the electrical bill.
Well, that one, good luck with that one. But, stuff like that, things that you use every day, the local officials are the ones that make those decisions.
Dr.
I agree, of course. People, when people are focused and has enough education to vote, they gonna put all effort in vote local. I totally agree. Yes.
Ms. Jo?
So I would put it a little differently. I would say that your vote at a local level definitely has more impact because of the number of people voting. But your vote is always impactful, whatever the election. And we do meet a lot of young people who just say, my vote doesn't count. Because they've been disappointed with election results. And unfortunately, it's a democracy, so you vote. You don't always get what you want, but you have to keep advocating and voting so that eventually you will get one or two things that you really want. Your vote definitely counts.
That's definite, and we have an audience here of youngsters that they are the future. I remember when I was about 9-10 years old, and my mom would be at the local church down the street filling up envelopes for Hernán Badillo, the very first congressman born on the island of Puerto Rico. And I don't know who it was. I was just stuffing envelopes with my mom so that she wouldn't scream and yell at me. And the next thing you know, that night we're having dinner and I didn't want to eat, and she's looking at the TV and she says, "You see that man? He just won. Él es puertorriqueño, boricua." I'm like, okay, what does that have to do with me? I'm 9 years old. And she says, it's very important, and it just affected me. I would be looking forward to every year when there was something locally happening to help my mom stuff envelopes, because we would always have good food. And I would have all these ladies always, giving me stuff. But when I turned 18 on January the 6th of 1976, don't do the math, please. My mom said, okay, next day we gotta go and get registered. I said, what the heck for? No, you're gonna go register. And that first year of November of 1976, I cast my vote for the first time. And you know what? I was educated, so I was always reading the newspaper. I had an English teacher that said, Annie, get the newspaper in the morning when you're walking to class. I want you to read. But when my candidate won, I said, yo puse ese granito de arroz en esa olla. Meaning I put that little grain of rice in that pot of rice and I cooked it and look what we got. So I felt that I was part of the process, and I think that our young people need to feel that whether they vote for one or the other, the process is there. Your vote is your voice, and your voice is the one that's gonna help us little seniors live for a while, you know what I'm saying? So you're our future, so I want a round of applause for the young people in this conference today, because your voice is gonna make our lives better. So if we don't cultivate, because that's the word, we need to cultivate the youth that's coming up. Okay, so we're already cultivated, so one last word of wisdom. So the next question is, what are the many ways that people can get politically involved in local politics short of running for office? So what can you tell people, what do I do, where do I go, who do I talk to? Because I don't know, I just see you people when you come around.
Was different things, like for example, in Polk County, since I started, I've been talking to, everybody now. It's been 2 years and I kind of know everyone around. Always been talking about how can we engage, how can we build the next public servant. And I believe it's Paul Vision, actually, a few months ago I received an email saying, hey, if you're interested.
Oop, you pressed the wrong button.
Oh.
There it is. Is it running out of battery? I'm not.
Switch over.
Okay, it's back.
You got it?
Yeah.
My battery.
So I received this email saying that if I wanted to participate on this kind of like a forum to teach what it is about running. And I was excited. I'm like, yeah, I wanna go to it. And then on the bottom say, if you're already running or if you're already elected, you cannot participate on this one. I'm like, yeah. So, anyways, I left it at that. And then about a couple weeks later, I got a call and it's like, hey, we would like you to be part of the panel for this group. And I'm like, oh, great. So I went to that panel, and there was a lot of people there that really cared, and they learned, I think, a lot that day. They was talk about how to do it. Like everything I didn't get the first time, it was there. They were explaining how to run, how to raise money, how to get your name out there, how to get the people involved by getting family, friends, getting these little groups to help you and not try to do everything yourself. So, that's something that we're doing in the county, and it's going to be happening often. Locally, in the city, it's really, really hard getting people involved.
Oh, I guess it's telling us that it's almost time.
Yeah, it's probably almost up. But, just social media, I think, is a good way to approach. Targeting on social media, if you want the Hispanic target, then you can do that there. And I wish somebody had an organization that would have a social media that put something out there, like, I don't know, every week, every month, special topic. So people that want to get involved can see at least some glimpse of it.
Dr. Nadine? Oh, I made my homework. I have a list. Okay. First of all, if somebody asks you, can I take my children to those things? Yes. Because that's the process that you pass when you was a child.
Yeah, I've passed it to my son.
Y así los papás le enseñan. Mi lista, número 1, participar en las organizaciones de base comunitaria. Just Google it. Father, Google. What is the las organizaciones de base comunitaria. Otra, involúcrense en debates y en consultas. ¿Cuántas veces hay letreros, signs in the middle of the road? This Thursday at 8, we are going to have a public whatever. And people saw the sign and do nothing. Participe de debate. Venga a estas iniciativas como está haciendo Lulac hoy. Participe en esos debates. Tercero, cree movimientos sociales. Aquí hay juventud, lo cual está maravilloso. La juventud es inquieta. Pueden hasta hacer organizaciones y movimientos sociales pro ambiente, pero eso es hacer vida de comunidad. Y en algún momento esos jóvenes son los que nos van a representar ante cualquier foro, cualquier candidato o cualquier lugar exigiendo derechos para proteger el medio ambiente. Próxima, pertenezca a una ONG. ¿Ya usted sabe cuáles son las ONG que lo impactan en su comunidad? Bueno, pues participen, búsquenla. Y las redes sociales, como dijo aquí el mayor Omar, hay que participar de las redes sociales de una forma responsable. Y eso es otro taller. Eso es otro taller porque hay mucha irresponsabilidad en las redes sociales.
Ms. Jo? Thank you. So the first thing I'm going to tell you about is actually the League of Women Voters has a website, Vote 411. You can do anything on this. You can find out where to register to vote online. You can find out where your precinct is. The most important thing is you can get information about all the candidates from a national and state and a local perspective. So as a local league, our job now is to put all the information about our local candidates on Vote 411. And we have really just started doing that on a local basis, but we did put information on about the latest municipal elections that took place in April, and we will have all the information about the candidates for the August primaries. We asked the candidates to answer between 3 and 5 questions, and unfortunately we have a problem getting answers, but if they answer, and we hope that all of them will, in August, we put all their responses on. If they don't, we do the best we can to give you as much information as we can find about that candidate. And as I said, we're a non-partisan organization. We just want everybody to know what the candidates stand for. So that's a very useful resource, and I've got cards here, you can take them, and we have them in Spanish. But some other things you can do is you can attend political forums. The best way, I think, to get to know about your candidates locally is if there's a candidate forum, go to it, because that's where you're going to get a good feel for the candidate and learn about them. But you can participate in other ways. You can be a poll worker. You'll learn a lot about elections from that. That is a really good way to get involved. You can do something called election protection. That is for, it's run by two different organizations, and they have a team of volunteers that go to polling stations during early voting and on election day. We have to stand, if you do it, you have to stand outside the 150-foot line, and you just check with voters how their experience has been. And then if there is a problem, you report it back. And we report on how the polling station looks. Is there sufficient Spanish language signage? I always say that there isn't, because I really feel that there isn't. If they have signage, it's not all in Spanish, and I think it should be. So that is one of my things. And the organizations that run that do give feedback to the supervisory elections. So I know it's a good thing, and we've helped many voters with problems that they have had if they've gone in and haven't been able to vote.
Wonderful.
And I would say another thing you can do is advocate on an issue. If you have the chance, go to Tallahassee, whether it's an issue you're interested in, or if you just want to go and see what the process is like, go to Tallahassee. It's a great experience. Try to speak to your local legislators and tell them what your concerns are.
Thank you.
Well, this rounds it out for this session. What she was saying is actually true. You know, when I moved down to Florida in 2002, I needed to get myself acclimated to what was going on in Florida. I knew nothing. All I knew was Mickey. And we ended up living in Polk County, and then when we decided to open the chamber, and that was in 2007, we're celebrating 17 years now, and I found myself as the sole person running around from the sheriff's office to city commissioners, to mayor's office, to county commissioners, to the board. I attend and I really participate in a lot of the advisory councils. One of the things that I did with past Mayor Howard Riggs of Lakeland was to develop the very first Hispanic Advisory Council for the city of Lakeland because of the growth of Lakeland itself. And it's still going. So if you're a Lakeland citizen, attend the meetings of that council because it's extremely important. And with that said, I want to thank you for being here today, and I want to thank our panel. Gracias.